Are you ready to do this?
Rock and roll, princess!
Hey friends, Bran here. Just wanted to take a moment to address a very important aspect of this episode. Number one, Barry and I are not doctors. We're just two dudes who are incredibly passionate about this stuff and think it'll help a lot of the problems that we're seeing in society and in people and just in general. We are going to offer some ideas. It is very important for you to consult with a doctor and take the necessary steps before you make any super serious life-altering changes. Also, nutritionists are a great resource, and dietitians are also. They're kind of similar. But just wanted to cover that for, a CYA kind of thing. Cover your butt aspect. So have your salt handy, sprinkle it where necessary, and do the correct thing for yourself, starting with seeking actual professional help. So thanks for that. Let's get to it. Welcome back, friends and scoundrels. I'm Bran.
Not Bran.
It was funny the first time, all right?
It's funny every time.
I'm not rolling with it this time.
All right, fine.
This is going to be a 3-hour long recording. I'm not doing that.
This is Barry with Bran. Brought to you by Bran and Bran Products.
I have no products. I don't know what he's talking about. Buy my stuff.
Nice. All right. How you been, man?
All right.
All right.
I fell off a little bit.
Like,
You know about it. We talked about it already. The crap food.
Yeah, no.
After we just had that big old conversation about not eating processed stuff.
Well, it's a. We all know it's a constant, ongoing battle. I don't know if battle's the right word.
Well, it's especially difficult when you're on the road and there's not a whole lot of options. Like the one town that I go through, Bridgeport, literally the only option they have is the convenience store and Taco John's.
And so, again, what would I say to that? What do I always say to that?
I'm not starving, Barry.
No, I'm not talking about. Well, okay, what two things? That's one. What's the other thing I say?
Something about poison.
I don't know. Fuck you. That's what I say, but what other people say. What I say is, you can prep a little bit of prep.
But it's like Monday, which was my last day.
That is a day.
Like I went into work and we got a call, and all of a sudden I'm going to Sydney. So there's no prep there, dude.
Well, there's prep Sunday night.
But I didn't know that trip was happening.
Right, I know, but okay. Well,
so I'm not going to prepare a lunch to take with me if I'm not going to go anywhere.
I don't want to sidetrack this thing too far, but you always like so there's you can be on the road quite a bit. It just happens, that. So what you'd want to do is like a little freaking plastic container or a paper bag or whatever the heck you want to do of some nuts and then maybe even the fruit.
Which I've got nuts at work.
Yeah.
I've got some almonds.
Yeah, pumpkin, almonds. Nuts are great. Like people always say, nuts are a great source of protein. They're not. Per ounce, they're shit compared to everything else. It's more nutritious, but they are a clean source of nutrition. So, you go with
or
that.
they can be.
Yeah, they can be.
Mine aren't currently, but
oh my god. So, but no. Okay, that's my 2 cents without getting sidetracked too much. Bran's working on his. Aren't we all though? So am I. Like, like you sit. My slip off is like when I've been grinding all day long, and there's that quiet moment at night where I have a little bit of a craving.
Yeah.
It's fucking not easy.
No, it was a bad couple weeks where I was just. The shit hit the fan and everybody was dying and I had to be everywhere all at once. And like there's times where it's like, all right, this is within walking distance. That's all I can really manage right now. So that's what I'm getting. Well, at least it wasn't McDonald's. It was Burger King, but still. But like I was good on my snacks all week. And like I didn't buy anything anywhere that I can recall. And because like Tuesday I was on the road again, but I planned for that. Yeah. And because I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. And Wednesday I just skipped lunch. And I planned for that too. So.
I've been working on it. I have a few ideas in mind why people like on the average.
Tuesdays and Thursdays aren't as bad either because those are my fast days.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about.
Right, you're not gonna.
I'm not worried about morning snack.
Yeah. So just working on an idea that I think the high carby diet, which we just can't avoid, and why we always talk about it in our country and the world, the globe, is I think actually the way cause those carbs and most of them bread, for example, a very big part of it, sit in your gut long time to digest. I think that contributes to people's
it's empty.
Right, yeah, there's a lot to it, but I think that contributes to the lack of appetite and the want and the nausea of morning eaters, the people who don't want to eat in the morning.
Yeah,
a very, getting to that clean point as as we try to maintain, and getting to that clean point again. It's a little bit of tension. You don't have to, it's not a 100% of the time, right? You just want to get there. You want to hit certain multiple times a month of being clean for multiple days.
How terrible our food is in the U.S. It's hard to be 100% clean.
Yes.
It's like looking for something to eat with my tuna to like scoop it up.
Well, we haven't had that conversation. Go ahead, sorry.
Like I was doing the Nut Thins by Blue Diamond, but they're terrible.
Yeah. So this is
it's like a bunch of soy oils,
the way they
natural flavors,
process them, right? So it's funny, but like any good brand, because of just the nature of the business, right? This is not people trying to be evil. It's just the nature of the business, ignorance, more or less.
Well, it cuts costs. They can make more and have it on the shelf longer.
They're trying to cut costs. It is a business, and so these things happen. Shit happens, and we have to pay attention to it. This goes back to this is a big thing I'm fighting with people who believe in certain different forms of government. I'll say that. But where, well. Anyway, where do these forms, or where does this take the overall thought, the think tank, and more you have to understand that no matter what sense, whatever happens in the coming future, the most important thing is that we allocate and we try to strive to be more responsible for ourselves, because the quote unquote big brother, the system is not going to. The system is there no matter what you believe. If you believe in whatever form of politics, it's there to relatively, not to take advantage. Let's just say that, just to cut things short. To get theirs.
Well, it's you have people that have gotten themselves into positions and are able to exploit that for their own self-interest and fuck the rest of us.
Right. It's not. Yeah. Again, it's not on malice. It's not to exploit per se, but it is
not
as
for most of them.
We all know like. How's the new hack, man? They know the system well enough that they are like, it's like when you know how to work out or when you know how to draw, the nuance to it, the shortcuts.
Actually, I'm gonna throw out a really weird suggestion.
Insightful. They have insight.
No, this is weird.
Okay.
Watch Legally Blonde 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
No, dude, like it nails what we're talking about with this system perfectly. Just like Accepted is another great movie and nails the problems with the collegiate system.
Well, that's obvious in many in front of you. But again, I'm not gonna sit here and just try to demonize people and say, okay, well, this is wrong because inherently we have a responsibility. Everyone does, and we've grown fat and lazy. And so you can't sit there and blame people, because blaming will do nothing. And that's what I'm trying to get off that track of, well, shame on these guys. Okay, well, yeah. They did wrong. It's crap. It's not going to work out for you if you want to lead a healthier life for yourself. So avoid these things.
You're going to have to either make sacrifices and definitely make some changes, but you may have to make some decisions that you don't want to make.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that I find, so people, energy, especially as you get older, energy is a huge, this is an argument, this is a topic about, most I think come down to energy. And so it is the old argument of, to get energy, you have to spend energy. Mm-hmm. And so you have to make a choice of, you're not going to have energy all the damn time. Guess what? You're an adult. make a choice. You govern your life.
But
so you're tired, get up, make that meal, Barry, Bran, whoever it is, for the next day or, whatever. So you don't like ordering. I don't want to order. Oof, that Dairy Queen looks good. DoorDash is pretty simple.
I did do good with that today. Yeah, I didn't get a shake.
So I did good. You what?
I didn't get a shake today.
You're awesome. Yeah, me too. I passed. I wanted one last night. I wanted one real bad, but I did not.
Especially like the Dairy Queen and Alliance.
Yeah. Pretty tasty.
Well, it's a different kind of store, so they kind of have their own standards a little bit. Okay. So you get a medium shake that's freaking huge. And when I'm there, it's happy hour. Oh. So like I'm getting this giant, like
you're getting 2 giant shakes.
Shake.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm getting because you normally go to Dairy Queen. It's
it's a shot glass. So here's your shot glass,
right? For like $5.
Yeah.
This one's twice that size for $2.
Well, what time do they close, man? Can we make it there?
Well, I mean, it's not happy hour anymore. But anyway, so you are almost on track to transition us into today's topic, actually.
Until you hijacked me.
No, you were already on
I was already off top. Anyway,
you already walked away.
Yeah, well, there we are.
But today, specifically, we are talking about exercise and physical fitness.
Yes.
And energy is actually part of that. You said... And this is how you were starting to get there. To get energy, you have to spend energy. Yeah. And that's very true when you're talking about physical fitness in a way, because if you just get up and move, your body will generate more energy later on, and you will feel a lot better.
That's right.
It depends on how much you move. But
a lot of it is we get just from when you feel the lack of energy coming on, like no matter what it might be, long day, kids, friends, family, the job. I mean, just multitude of things, right? The daily life, TV, entertainment. It's seeping out energy. And what you want to do is, I don't want to go off topic, but we always want to. You have to control your mind. It is the simplest thing of mind over matter.
Controlling your mind starts in your gut.
Yep. And that's why there are small wins, right? The small wins that build up to a large win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back to our last episode, though, talking about nutrition and stuff. A lot of, I don't know, we kind of did, but we kind of didn't impress the importance of nutrition and how it affects you mentally. And
we didn't? Did we miss that?
We did, but we didn't.
Okay.
We did talk about it in pretty good lengths, but not as much as I would have liked to, maybe.
We just didn't say, okay, this affects you this way, period. Moving on.
Yeah. So, anyways, where we like to start? What do you think the current social perspectives of fitness are there, Barry?
Well, I think we all know, it's in our face 24/7. If you're on an app of any type, whichever one is,
YouTube, especially if you're looking at some of this stuff,
casually. Yeah. If you're looking up specifically for information, which is amazing.
Stop doing cardio; it's bad.
Right? Most people. When we, and it does play a part, but
No, I'm sorry. That's one that pops up.
No, I know. I'm just talking about, aspect of.
But fitness. Generally speaking, from a social standpoint, I think most people, if you bring up fitness, they're going to think of like athletes.
Yes. Well, you're going to think working out, right? You're going to think about throwing weights around, hitting the gym.
Bodybuilder types.
Getting some squats, some booty squats in.
The ripped gym bros.
Yeah.
The alpha male, toxic masculinity types that everybody hates.
Yeah. Right. Well, the
gym gals.
Well, they have misinformation, but there's a fancy word I was trying to think of for that. But
I mean, and
it's not that it's not wrong. It's not that it's not wrong. Actually, it feeds it. It is the prototype that precedes the stereotype.
Well, but also for these are people that this is their life.
Well,
and
they adopt. It's a persona that people, we adopt, and often just to get into that mindset to expend that energy that it does take to make that life choices is a very heavy. It does take a lot of energy. The problem that I have specifically, I'm not, going to speak for you, but for me is, and I did this for 10 years, starting from my late teens, go squat, hit the squats and hit weights and then hit the pizza and hit the chips.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is very counterproductive. You might put on some muscle. It's actually, you won't put on the most, healthy muscle, and you're not being healthy at the same time. There are losses going on with those gains also.
Balancing, maybe even negating each other a little bit.
Yeah, it goes on both ways. And also, like your body, again, like your body behind the scene, what we see the fallout between chronic diseases, because your body's already trying to fight these horrible, toxins, chemicals, products that you're putting into your body.
Yes. Behind
the scenes, not besides healing after the workout and rest and all that stuff like that. So the silent, the quiet battles that your body is putting up behind the scenes is pretty wild and very vast, and it's amazing. That's why, if you think about how our youth eat,
just to get into that a little bit deeper, like there's so many people that suffer from chronic inflation and don't even know it.
Yes. Yeah.
And because your body's in this constant state of this inflation.
You're
sorry, I confused words for a minute there. But because your body's doing that, it is fighting, but because it's putting that energy there, it makes you more likely to get sick.
Yes.
And
you're putting yourself in that state, right? So you put yourself,
and your body can't, like, if you are working out, you're not able to heal properly, and
it affects your rest. It affects your mental makeup. It depends on what you are intaking, and how it can affect you. It can affect your agitation. It can affect your focus. Just tiny little new, micro things that we all deal with daily, which we become accustomed to just, brushing out of our mind. I'm just going to, go through it because you can't, right?
Yeah.
Most of us don't feel these things until our mid-30s, virtually. And that's just how phenomenal the body is, because we're literally putting bad processed, just junk, just trash into our body. Yes. And it's working not only dealing with our daily lives, but it's working with nutrition, which it's not getting. It's trying to shit, all of our organs.
We spent 3 hours in the last episode talking about.
So, but that's the thing. Like, you try to get these things, try to get energy, and so the people who are, working out raw, they're doing a good job of working out. They're doing a good job trying to live a healthier life. They're just going to have to battle.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about, like, we talked about nutrition last time. We're talking about, like, the rest of us, how we. So if I don't go to the gym, how I can now I eat right. Now I know I could spend more time throwing some weights around or whatever it might be. So here it is. Here's how we get the energy, and how we maintain energy, and how we maintain being in motion.
So, actual definition per Merriam-Webster. I did my due diligence this time.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster's losing this fucking.
Is the quality of state of being fit. And to break this down even more, fit. The definition of fit is sound physically and mentally, acceptable form or from a particular viewpoint, which is also feeds into the social aspect and that gym bro thing, right?
Well, that speaks to a lot nowadays, because like you notice that this definition has actually changed in the last 15 years. I can tell you that much. For fit in according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, especially that kind of goes along with, I guess I'd say, hand in hand with some things we're seeing socially, how we're trying to make a lesser lifestyle that's healthy.
Perceptions. Of, what are
cultural perceptions and norms?
Not just that. Unrealistic standards, as they call it, right?
Well, that's been a word, like that's been a counter word.
But that's part of what's redefine or
So when people are trying to make excuses for not achieving or living a healthier lifestyle, I'm not going to say, like, I'm not talking about flipping Arnold Schwarzenegger levels. I don't think anyone ever is, but people want to jump to that conclusion because they don't want to.
Well, because that's what we see all the time, right?
Well, yes and no.
If you're watching a movie, how many dudes are ripped like that?
Well,
almost all of them. Like
that's a different thing.
An average family. Well, no, because that's what we're talking about, right?
Well, yes and
about
no.
the social perception and this definition and how they're feeding each other.
People say this is a social perception because they want an excuse as to why they can't be athletic or fit, I should say.
Yeah,
healthy. Now we all know, but people know that Hollywood movies are fake, and we still want to base a lot of realities off of them. Right. That's a given. I know that. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not arguing that craziness right there.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that one.
Yeah, whatever. That's something else. But there's a part of our society which unhealthily and very much to our detriment, make an argument because we don't want to invest the time, the energy, or it just threatens us. Like there's a huge conversation which Jocko and Echo have gone to great depth about ego when it comes to mind, like, and how we can be threatened by, say, a spouse or a bro or somebody close to you getting in better shape. We often, if we're not comfortable with that, we want to break them down. We want to point out the negatives to this, and it's not just this. This happens on everything, right? Political conversation. Yeah. But that's something that we need to be as people who, like, okay, I want to do just a little bit something. This isn't my lifestyle. This is just something to help maintain a healthier life, right? So I'm not gonna go out there and I'm not gonna chew, 100 pounds, steel every damn day. You don't need to work out religiously every day to be healthy or fit.
No. Which.
And I want to make sure that's just out there.
Jump into our what we're talking about, our perceptions here, which is essentially what Barry's been saying. Is we're more concerned about just taking care of yourself in a physical way. Yeah. That Hampton from Hybrid Calisthenics is huge on both of our lists. I actually think I want to try getting back into his workout routine. Have you like he has so much free stuff. Have you ever? I was doing it for a while. Okay. Because he lays it all out in multiple videos of his. So yeah, and that goes to our, like, the cost of energy again is simply just exerting the energy it takes to make the first step. Now there are, again, I'm gonna go back to YouTube because it's such a good tool, ignoring all of what it can be and what it is also, but it is a good tool if you know how to use it right. And there are many, 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 and you'll find them just simply through trial and error. Many well-educated and understanding people who have workouts that can fit you, that can help you, and can not only help you be fit, but can also help, like, the smaller things within your daily life. Posture, which that's actually how I found Hampton all those years ago. He's not the only one. I just, I have different maladies with my structure, and I found Hampton through iFunny, actually.
I thought I sent you a video.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you may have, but that's not how I found him.
Yeah, that's not how you paid attention to him.
No, I discovered Hampton and his hybrid calisthenics program through iFunny. Okay. Because he's real big on getting out on just whatever social media is out there.
Yeah, he's really good at it.
But actually, no, not even that. Other people were sharing his stuff first. Yeah. And I think that's how I found it. And I was just like, this is a good dude. Yeah. He gives a shit about this.
He's a sweet dude. He's a real kind guy.
He's got really good information, and he doesn't make you feel bad for not being Arnold Schwarzenegger right away.
I think so. Out of you will find there is a persona, and you already mentioned it. The jock types, the all the stereotypes that we see and run into of gym goers. Hampton is very much counterculture to that, where he's very, very mother hen, gentle, gloves, and very considerate, especially in how he talks to people.
Realistic too, and I think that's a large part of why he is that way. Genuine, because he's like, no, you're probably not going to be able to do push-ups, but that's okay.
Yeah. The whole
here's how you get to doing push-ups.
He's very practical, and he genuinely wants to help people be more,
which is why his programs are free. Yep. And he gives you free alternatives. Yep. But he does sell equipment.
Yeah, he does sell equipment. That's how he makes his money mostly. Besides that, ad revenue,
I think he does some other stuff outside of his YouTube stuff too. I think he's actually a trainer and stuff.
Yeah, it could be. I've never.
Anyways, so with that, I think I've nailed this here with the definitions. What's actually going on? Only took 2 episodes.
Well,
but
as
the
we
definitions
do, right?
give us an opportunity to kind of flesh something or give a general idea of what we're going to talk to before we actually get too deep into it, right?
We don't dawdle on a subject, Brandon. We just kind of like, this is the point, and we just
meander around.
Yeah, we don't.
No, we're like a bunch of people who found themselves inside the Capitol one day and meandered around.
We are literally a coffee shop of discussion and topic and.
All right. So, that being said, let's get into it.
Yeah.
For real.
So, Brand, why do you find this important?
It's because we're animals. Fundamentally.
That's insulting.
Foundationally.
Okay? You're an animal. I am a kind, civilized human man.
You're related to Mr. Hanky.
I might be.
But as animals, we're meant to move. Animals move. Like, even...
Have you seen the sloth jerk?
They still move a little bit.
You can't prove that. I've never seen one move once in my life. I've seen people... I
saw
one trying to move across the street. Some asshole picked up and moved him.
I know.
That was nature. He disrupted nature.
But, as animals, we're meant to move, but we've found ourselves living more sedentary lifestyles.
Right.
And we've been convinced to live these lifestyles.
Yeah. So it is good for the human skeletal structure. If you look at how our structure is, everyone, going back to animals also, it's good for us to move. How we maintain muscular tension and all the important things that make us healthy just from children. If you watch children don't sit still very long often.
No.
So moving it is a very fundamental part of maintaining our health. And as you mentioned, being in one place, being still often plays into these lifestyles that have been set before us that are supposed to lull us into a sense of
comfort.
Comfort, exactly.
And it's a lifestyle of...
It's a false...
Well, if you come here and sit, you can go home and sit and just veg out for a while, and your life will be complete. And
the lie is that all we need is comfort, and that's a different topic, but we do touch on every single... I think we've talked about on every show that humans, fundamentally, we don't seek comfort. We want comfort occasionally, otherwise, you need your body.
Well, there's a time and a place for it, because
you need to rest.
If you pay attention to animals in the wild, they move around.
They rest.
I'm going to use wolves a lot.
Cats rest, man.
I'm going to use wolves a lot because they're an animal that I'm the most familiar with. But they will...
Is that from the Oscar days?
Yeah. Huh?
Nothing. Sorry.
They play around.
Yeah.
They patrol their territory. They find food. They gorge themselves and go into food coma. But they, in between all those things, they do take little rest periods.
Well, yeah, and that's fundamental, and they know, instinctually, and also, they are listen to their bodies, and like again, like there's an over saturation, I would say, and I think we've all seen this of the comfort again, right? And everyone, the big thing is, and trust me, I can sit on my butt, and I can easily for 12 hours.
Well, especially,
games, right?
Not just that, but like how much of even you and I, our work is sitting down.
Oh yeah.
Like even when I come home and I'm doing my productive things, I'm sitting at a desk painting minis or making notes for this or reviewing horror movies or whatever. But I'm sitting for most of that. The only productive activity that I do at home that isn't sedentary is woodworking.
Yeah, because you move around doing things, grabbing things, moving it here and there. Yeah, and that's a good thing. Woodworking is good. So, but again, we're not saying to some of this point is comfort is fine. But you don't want comfort 100% of the times because then you just keep on seeking more and more comfort. And it just leads to just a pit of nothing.
That's where your dopamine ends up going. And it's a lot easier for that to happen because there's no energy expenditure.
So just like with food, you want to, you can't just oversaturate your life with just being a couple, just potato the whole time. You have to actually get up and you have to actually put yourself in some distress. It actually helps you feel better. Like when you go out there, like just a nice, like not even like strenuous, just a nice pace in your own garden, or maybe even like working on a car, whatever it might be.
Go walk around the block.
Walking around the block, cooking a good dinner. Handling and getting pacing back and forth for a family, especially.
Especially if I'm cooking on my own, because I'm from the counter to the stove, back to the counter to the fridge to the cupboards to.
So the point
I'm
of that
usually
is
stressed out though because I'm trying to do everything all at once.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good balance. It's a good challenge. So, to sum it up, to connect it all up is you feel better. Not only do you feel better once you have whatever you were trying to get done, right? Mm-hmm. You have that kickback for that, but you also feel better because you were moving around and you were putting yourself under a little bit of tension, a little bit of stress, and now you can relax and rest and feel, oh man, it's good. Well, and that's what we look for. That's the comfort we look for.
You end up with a healthier expression of dopamine.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's a true like there's not a fake, right? You're not tricking the dopamine into like just sitting there finding more and more, right? Which we like, for example, and I'm not trying to pick on gamers because I am one, but that is a very easy trip to get onto for more and more.
Facebook.
Yeah.
It's high dopamine output with little effort.
Yes, very little.
Because
very little energy in all ways. Very little energy as far as mentally thinking and moving, right?
Mm-hmm. So, and that kind of reminds me of just to stay on the dopamine for a second. Yeah. Reading Way of the Warrior Kid or The Warrior Kid.
Yeah.
Book by Jocko. 4 kids.
Yeah,
about
which anyone
better people.
Anyone can get.
But like I'm getting something out of it, and that's what I'm trying to get to here, Barry.
How's helping you?
Is it
get a hit?
Is it one of the big challenges that Mark, the kid, is facing is that he can't do pull-ups. So he finally does a pull-up, and he's like super excited, and he's willing to pop the champagne bottle and everything.
Look, kids don't drink. Besides what Bran says.
Well, shut up, Bran. Kids probably aren't listening to this right now because we cuss way too much.
Well, that's your damn fault.
But his uncle Jake is like, "Hey, tone it down. Your goal is 10 pull-ups. It's great that you did 1, but you don't really get to celebrate until you actually achieve your goal."
Yeah. And the point of that is.
And so he probably had this huge spike of dopamine, right? Because he achieved something.
Well, he did, and he did achieve. He technically did achieve something, right?
Yes,
it's great. Yeah. It's a good thing.
Which is why his uncle didn't try to take that away from him.
Exactly.
But that dopamine, because dopamine is actually a motivator.
Yes. That's
why you stay on Facebook, because you're trying to get more likes and everything.
Chase that carrot.
So dopamine is our motivator. Is it a hormone?
Yeah.
I forget. Offhand, I just listened to Human today. But dopamine is more associated to motivation and getting out there and doing things.
Yes.
Finding your food and all these things. So with our comfortable lives, we've essentially hacked our system to
it's an endless pit, isn't it?
It's to not actually go get things because it's just right here.
Yeah. And we can find it. We can finance this mindset in any way, right? Because we do, no matter what, you become nuanced, you become understanding in whatever trade. Let's say like building Legos or painting miniatures, right? You pick up little nuanced things to learn how to do it a little more efficient, or whatever else it might be.
Yeah,
AKA a hack.
You're developing your skills.
Yeah, that is. You're developing your skills. I'm using hack as the whole.
I used hack in the appropriate
right. People will use hack that way. Like really do. They really do, which is not accurate. I'm making fun of that. So
be more clear, Barry.
I apologize.
Sorry.
Yeah. But again, like, so that you'll fall into these things and these nuances, and that's why we always have like the whole, you take some energy, get energy, and keep on going, keep on setting goals, keep on moving it. And it feeds into a better way to do things. It's more healthy, and you feel better, and not just sitting there trying to consume something that has no feedback.
But another reason why this is important, if you haven't picked up on it yet, fitness and exercise is as fundamental to our well-being as nutrition is.
What? Okay, I'm out. Man, so we're in a straight line, y'all. Are you done? You really done?
No, I'm reading my note.
I was like, all right, I don't
simple.
I should have done that a long time ago.
No, I don't want to verbatim my note from
right. You want to take the best from your notes. I want you to take the best from your notes too, because man,
they need some help. Read it before I brought that up.
They need some help. Exercising is fun.
But like a lot of the people that we reference and are going to constantly reference, like Dr. Huberman, to be respectful to his position of authority.
Yes, indeed.
Like
Dr. Jocko. Dr. Echo.
He would probably knock your face through the back of your skull if you told that to him.
If he was so inclined to, I'm sure for a lot of things I would probably say because I'm going to be a smart ass. But the point is, he just Chimera me.
No, but Jocko, he's not studying it, but he is very much aware of these things, and he talks to people who study it. Dr. Patrick.
Huberman.
Ben Patrick. Knees over toes guy.
Yeah.
The Ben Patrick and knees over toes guy are the same person.
Same person. Yeah. Yeah.
Ben Patrick is a different person than Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
Yeah. Very much. Jocko's had quite a few.
Yeah, he's had quite a few of those people on. But those are just a few of the people that we're going to constantly talk about today. In future episodes, we're relevant, and a lot of those people are studying, and there's platitudes of people beyond them.
Yeah, there's people that they reference. What I like about Jocko and Huberman, especially those fellas, is they are very good and thorough about referencing because Jocko will often get a whole paper or book off of what his topic is, and he will reference this stuff, so we all can go out there and follow the same trail of thought, and then decide.
But like the book example, he's reading it. Huberman does the same thing.
Yep.
I was listening to his episode on cold today. Yep. I forget exactly how it's worded, but that'll be linked down below anyways. And yeah, he's pulling up these studies, and he's going through it thoroughly enough in a summarized kind of way.
Yeah,
to give you exactly
as they do,
need.
right? Like they'll give the summary, and they'll give supporting summaries and references also, which is just great. And they're much more.
Huberman's great too because he's a neuroscientist, and he understands these things.
He understands it in a very
and a lot of this is stuff that he's studied himself.
Yeah, he's actually worked in this is his field
and experimented on it. So that's one of the things I like about Dr. Patrick too, is that she experiments on herself with these things, so she knows.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's you bring up a real good point right there. Is that's something that I know we can get wrapped up into real easily. Oh, I tried this and it didn't work,
and that's fine.
Yeah, it is. But here's the thing: people feel cheated because they've so me and you are telling them, well, it takes energy, right? They've expanded this energy. That's right, you did. You know what? Guess what? It's not every square peg is gonna fit every there can be different sizes and little different shavings or whatever else. So
sometimes a circle does fit in a square. Sometimes a square fits in a circle.
Sometimes a square is too small for whatever square hole there is. There's tons of nuance. So it will take get that in there. So it will take lots of work.
Oh, you didn't make it any better, Barry.
I know. That's why. Never mind. All right, so you gotta go with it. Come on.
Sorry, I'm having a little breakdown because jokes in my head that are highly inappropriate.
You can make them if you make them subtly. So my point is that it will take if you care about it and if you are actually interested in moving and eating better and all this, it's going to take a little bit of energy from you. And don't feel cheated because it didn't work the first time. Very few things, so you have to keep at it. Like no one, not Michael Jordan, not Kobe, not LeBron.
Oh, Michael Jordan's a great example.
Whoever, they weren't the best off the bat. They took tons of work to be there, and there's a lot of people who are born with the same athletic talents, but they do not put in the work and understanding to get there. And it's just it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of work, and then you are better off for it, and and you have an understanding for it.
Eating is going to require a lot less energy. Eating correctly. It's still going to take some time for your body to flush that crap out, so you're not going to see immediate results. But exercise is going to require effort at first, and some exercises that might not work well for you.
There's a nuance to both because
you have to go through trial and error to figure that out.
Yeah, well, everyone's different, right? And our genetics are very different.
Food, for the most part, in a very, very general way, works about the same for everybody.
Well, the eating of the food is but to you have to spend and very much use the thought energy because we don't want to think, right? Like it can be exhausting, especially for a long day, and people aren't going to be blessed with just hours and hours if you're working schmo like us.
Yeah.
So it's going to take you're going to have to give up, a little bit of time. No watching Teletubbies today, okay? We're gonna watch.
Or put the stuff on while you're doing it.
You can't watch Teletubbies and this at the same time.
You can put on Teletubbies and exercise at the same time.
Might
feel a little weird, but you can do it.
You can do it. That's true. But I'm talking about the nuance, which I'm saying versus because each take it so eating nutritiously and getting there to know what you're, walking that line to learn how and what is nutritious and what may serve you and why this isn't working and why that's not working. Maybe this is inflaming this. Okay, what's this? I need to move this down a little bit, a few more grams of notch. Try this again. Okay, that takes energy. Just like moving and saying, okay, well, does this work to me? Okay, maybe I should do some squats because it's hard on my back. Maybe my scapula is not strong enough right here on my groin or whatever it might be. Whatever muscle is not strong enough, or however it might be, there's going to be a nuance of learning. So each take energy. Yeah. There is a difference into what type and how the exertion is. So both can be frustrating. I'm just saying, give yourself time. Don't you're not batting 1,000. And that's not the goal. The goal is not to say, well, look at this, I killed it the first time.
Yeah, the goal is to get out there and take 100 swings.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times you hit the ball.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how many times you hit the ball.
You just have to get out there and swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nailed it. Wrap it up, boys.
Check mark. I'm going home. Look at the beers. All right. Sorry. All right. So, go for it.
What can we say are some damages that have been done here, Barry?
Well, so I want to kind of take some different direction. So where do you when you see that line, where do you want to take that at?
What damage is being done?
Yeah. Are you talking physically?
Just like my notes have pointed out here, because of our sedentary lifestyle that we've been convinced to live, our bodies are literally deteriorating. Okay. Additionally, poor information.
Yes. So that's what I was going
to get specifically into like knees over toes guy.
Yes, which he's made a living off of it, right? Correcting like people's mistakes because of business.
Yeah, and I mean he's living proof that his system is better, that we have been told wrong, and it's a little bit of hubris where there might be some sciencey people who are like, hey, here's this problem, just don't do this. And all right, science is settled without actually exploring what's going on with your knee joint, why that stress is there. Is it actually harmful, right, or is it?
And what often happens is we've seen just from we have enough information, we have enough bite-sized information is, someone finds something that works, and demand is so high for sports athletes, and it's such a high ballpark of money that this works. we have the science that clearly states it works, but there's always more to it. You know,
Science
there's so much,
is never settled.
Yeah, there's so much research. Yeah, and that's,
I mean,
and human will always say, like, they're always, scientists will talk and argue for hours just on nothing.
Despite what we've heard for the last 2 years, science is not settled on anything.
Yeah, and like that's why it's an ongoing process, and that's why it's, you know, you have to keep on molding that clay. So yes, this may be actually accurate, but what about this? There's a whole paradigm to what structures and what supports this. And for again, because we live in a very much in a give and take and a high demand system, you know, especially for sports athletes, you know, which is now our, you know, it might be our leading source of entertainment these days.
Oh, it has been for a long time.
Next to, you know,
go back to the Colosseum in Roman times.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking about movies. I'm not saying. I'm not arguing this. I'm just saying. But so yeah, people want this. This works. So here's the science. So here's you know, this was successful.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
One of our flaws as human animals is that we want the simplest, straightest forward direction. Right.
That's what I'm getting to. So we'll find this and we'll say, okay, well, here it is. And it's marketable. You know, and there's gains to be made not only for the athlete but also financially, right? And that's just the nuance of the world we live in. Unfortunately, you know, it is again, you know, there are people that suffer because they actually didn't have a chance to say a say. But now that, you know, we're here, this is after the fact. You have a say now. You know, if you want information out there, it's not just here's surgery. You know, surgery to cut into the human body every time there is so much nuance to that, and we now know that it's not always the clear-cut case.
No, most of the times it's the worst case.
Right. I'm just saying.
But
I'm
there's
not
a lot of
doctor,
money
I'm just
there.
saying, I'm not trying to, you know, bash on too bad. I just know people have been helped by it. And I know I for one chose not to get knee surgery both times.
Yeah, it's something
but the healing process was horrible.
It is something that I'm going to have to struggle with at some point in my life, and that's why, like, I'm on knees over toes guy, and I want to fix because I've got bad knees.
Yep.
Almost as bad as his, maybe even worse.
Well, I don't know about that because he was a kid, you know.
So was I. Between my two knees, I've got 7 confirmed dislocations. I've got several more.
I haven't saw. We've talked about this, okay?
So, no, just for the listener to understand my position and like,
Well,
I've got a lot going on down there still.
So to step up and to make a choice, you know, to pursue, you know, for your own self, like, you know, we're not here to say, okay, don't listen to your doctor.
The other thing, no, we're not, and that thing is at the beginning and down in the notes. Yeah. But the other thing I'm seeing, since watching some of his videos and understanding what he's talking about, Ben Patrick,
right.
Like, I deal with a lot of elderly people with my job, and like, there's some of these people that are literally folding up on themselves because, like, especially in like their legs and their backs, those muscles and those tendons and stuff are so tight from not being used the way they're meant to be used.
There's a lot. You know, I know I've known masseuses and all that stuff, and some of the biggest stuff is, you know, the rear, right? The hamstrings, the keister, and the lower back, and the mid back are almost every single time you're gonna get money work out of that when you go to a massage therapist. Yeah, you know, no matter what you do, almost every time you sit on your keister your whole day, which you think you're not doing much work. The thing is, again, you're creating shortening. Yeah. And there's a lot of great guys that talk about this.
But yeah, no, like, I saw a gentleman yesterday, probably 70-ish, and like, he was, I would say originally probably like 6'3", and he's shorter than me now because he's just hunched over. His legs won't straighten out, and I see a lot of that.
So and it
makes me sad.
Yeah, and like, people say, well, that's old age, and like, not entirely. That is again a misnomer that we've bought into.
That to this point here, that these are people who maybe were pretty fit in their youth, but they didn't continue to take care of themselves, and they weren't taking care of themselves in the right ways because bad information, or maybe they just, around here, a lot of them are old farmers. So like
you
you're pretty fit being a farmer, but you're doing repetitive stuff.
Where's your nutrition? Where's your stretching? Because again, we're going to get into that, but which is a huge thing of human life that's been ignored in the modern era, I should say, because naturally humans have always stretched a lot, and we've done a lot of things that have stretched.
How did that not make that into our notes somewhere?
Yeah, I know. I was. That was actually going to be something I got to you, but I'm sorry, that's my bad.
No, that's fine.
But so to wrap up what I was saying about that is again a lot of the bad information that not just us but doctors, there are a lot of doctors which I can send a Bran to have put in the notes.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna have links for days.
We're gonna have links, references, and sites.
Something I will be continually adding to those notes as we find new information.
Yeah, it evolves. That's awesome. And so, a lot of information came about in late '70s and early '80s as a lot of our modern era boomed, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you think about someone who in their 70s right now or 80s, they were only in their 30s and 40s back then, right? So
yeah.
If they perhaps if they had continued, or if things had taken a different turn as to where they did turn, they would have been paying attention to these little nuances of life, as we are now.
Yeah.
After they what had happened of commercializing certain things and where things went. So here we are, and it's tough. It's a tough loss for some people, I think.
So.
But there's never. I mean, and Hampton talks about it too, which is awesome and so is Ben Patrick when he's over toes. It's his mom getting after it.
Oh yeah, that was something that.
Yeah, take it, go for it.
With the elderly people, she's like 60 and
she's almost 70. She's 65, 66.
65, 70.
She's past the early years of 60.
Yeah. She's closer to 70 than she is 60 now.
Anyway, but she, in great shape, but she's getting after it.
But she's following some of his workout regimen, and it's improved her quality of life considerably.
He puts her on camera.
Yeah.
And she's out there doing the walking backwards stuff with weights.
Which has been like the main thing that she does. She's not doing a lot of it. She's not pulling the sled. She's not doing the HEG or anything.
Yeah, you don't.
But she's getting that additional movement that we're not used to that works our muscles in different ways.
Ways we've lost, honestly. Yeah.
And which you asked me about walking backwards and how that fits into our evolution. I don't think it necessarily does. I think it's just a way to activate those muscles in a different way.
Yeah, no. So we move 70% less than we used to. Just we don't move as much, right? We don't stretch as much. We're not making longer steps. We're making shorter steps, right?
Yeah. We're not climbing hills.
We're not as extraneous. Just
we have
weird things.
Flatten the earth.
Yes, right.
If you will.
There we go. Hey, that's horrible. You just hate you, kind of.
But anyway, it's a new flat earth theory. There you go, guys. Okay. Have fun with that.
Not touching that. Moving on back to Ben Patrick's mother. But so yeah, the workout is hitting these groups that get ignored. Mm-hmm. In a safer way, in a way that is not going to just knock you on your butt, but it's a very it's a good, safe workout, if you can say that. Use that word.
This isn't necessarily a negative or a damage being done per se, but this idea that you have to get big and ripped. There's a lot of people selling that, right?
That's been like
feeding that idea of social perception again.
That arose from the Schwarzenegger explosion, right?
Action movies in the 80s, cartoons, because action stars in the 70s were average dudes.
They were average dudes, and here comes Schwarzenegger, and it was this Conan and stuff, and he's which is
Stallone,
right?
And
Stallone, if you look at his stuff, was just more of a fit dude. He was
still bigger than most people.
He's 5'8".
There's a reason why people
don't
wanted.
Ever say that again.
There's a reason why people wanted a Stallone Arnie match.
Sure.
Anyway, in the movies. Anyways,
so it's funny. Anyway,
it's just and not to take away from that, it's just to touch on what we did before, that it turns a lot of people off.
Well, it's those again. Like what happens is you have these aspirations, what some people like, right? Mm-hmm. But then it's like, then again, you have the people, because there's always an even group, right? You're going to have people that are going to say, well, that doesn't fit with me. I don't want to see that. So they're going to be kind of tearing it down. They're going to be ones that, like, oh, that's really good, cool for them, that medium group, right? And the ones that aspire to that stuff and get there. So you're going to have the mix. It's going to even itself out.
Eventually,
But the
commercialization
of it.
Even going through YouTube, it's difficult to find people without doing very specific searches.
And that's because
that's
the same
gym bros.
Right. Well, that's the way that
and I'm not trying to be pejorative about that either.
I know. That's good. That's good clarification.
Because sorry, I'll finish up my point and then I'll let you.
Go ahead.
But like, it was a specific search about. Well, not real specific, but it was specific exercise search that finally brought up Hampton for me.
Okay.
I went through easy exercise and beginner exercise and things that I thought would bring up Hampton.
That's cute.
But pages.
Really?
Nothing.
So the algorithm didn't help you out at all.
No.
So that's weird.
But it was all like barbarian lifter or whatever his name is. And coach something. And it was all the
just jacked. Jack dudes.
They look like they're roided out. I doubt any of them are, but
well, be careful.
They're all names that I know.
Roids aren't used anymore. It's HGH. So
whatever.
Yeah.
So what were you trying to say?
Well, to say like just where that came from, why it was all unhealthy in the first place, is because of the commercialization, right? Mm-hmm. Just like the algorithm kind of tilts you away from what is more healthy, but because what's going to get the bigger hits is the dudes that want to be jacked. They're going to look that up and how do I get jacked? And what's a bigger bunch?
Well,
so it feeds it. So what you put
not just that, but if you click on it, that feeds it, and a lot of people might click on it and not stay.
Right. But same thing, man. And so the commercialization of it, the fat of it or whatever else might be, it gets hits no matter what, right? No matter what area you're in, people, you want to find. The reason I found Hampton, and I found Ben Patrick the same day, is because he was interviewing him. But I was looking for posture, and I had been on, what's his name? Jeff. The Athlon X dude, who actually was just on with Huberman last week.
Ito?
No. He was on with Huberman last week. Ito was on like a month ago. But Jeff Calazones or something his name is.
Okay.
But anyway, he's a dude he's been doing real nice. Like he does like a lot of different things. And some of the stuff, whatever, but it's mostly good stuff.
Which I haven't listened to that episode.
But I was looking at posture because I have bad posture from a number of things. Sitting definitely is one of them. And there was Knees Over Toes being interviewed by Hampton. And it was I found them both, like that was the algorithm actually looking for me moment. Because wasn't it? But I think that's because I probably look up more stuff like that than you do, right?
Yeah.
So for people, and it actually does look does look at your history of looking at stuff.
That is a huge part of the algorithm. Yeah. Like if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see I'm putting together playlists of stuff too.
Good.
To help with it. That's another thing that's going to be constantly growing and expanding.
Nice.
And that's where I watch a lot of this stuff too, so that way I get the information that I want.
Well, the visual is awesome. Like when you're working out, like one of the best things I will just off of that for visual, record yourself. It'll feel like crap, but record yourself. You don't have to be long, just a minute for the first. Record yourself doing some reps, but look at your posture because it's a very important thing. And if your posture looks slumped or arched or like that, hit up Hampton because he has some great posture videos.
But no, that's a good point. Record yourself because you might feel like you're doing things correctly. Like I have to correct my kids all the time, and they get upset and frustrated with me because they're not seeing what I'm seeing.
Probably the way you're saying it.
Sometimes. No, honestly, sometimes.
Can't be. Yeah.
I'm a bad leader sometimes.
Well, like it's hard. Well, like I was just gonna say, I was just thinking back to my dad. Like it's hard being a dad. It really is because like the kids, it's the credit thing.
Yeah. But let's stick on the social stuff here too, because there are a lot of poor ideas socially about body image, and one of them is this body acceptance idea, which is fine for some people. If that's what the life you want to live, have at it. My view on it, though, is that if you're not happy with your body, it's not mentally healthy to just convince yourself that it's okay. If you're not happy with your body, fix it.
You know, Human and a couple other people have said stuff about this. You know, as flippant as they can. And it's like, if you're okay with chronic disease, by all means, put yourself in that safe mindset, in that kind of mindset, and live that lifestyle. Now,
because
there are doctors.
That's freedom, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's freedom and doctor. But there are doctors, and research, and hard, indisputable research that say this leads to this, and this is an unhealthy way to live, and it does. There is a trickle-down effect. It does influence people around you, just like anything else. But the point is that it does an unhealthy way, a bad way of doing something. Now,
because that's the energy that you're putting out.
Exactly. You're breathing this to life. You're talking about how this works for me. It makes me feel better. All that stuff, right? So again, but if you want to live that life, cool, man, own that, right? Like
there's plenty of reasons, usually not healthy reasons, why people do. One of the podcasts that I listen to, woman leads a very unhealthy lifestyle, and she's proud of it. Like, she's proud to be a big girl.
Nowadays,
and
it's talking point, right?
It stems from her childhood with her parents. She was a pageant kid, so she was forced to eat a certain way, and that's a conversation of psychology I'm not going to deal with. Yeah,
but I mean, no, I'm with you. No, I get where she's coming from, but that right there is just the tip of the iceberg. She should be paying attention to a lot bigger fish than that. Yeah. That, I think, right there, what that leads to, again, like, that just speaks to what we're comfortable with and where she's made her money, right? Like, she's on podcasts now. She's in she's getting some,
a comedian,
right? She's getting some 15 minutes of kickback of
which she is, feedback. And she's
but anyway, going back to, if that's where you want to live, by all means, it is America. That's the key thing. If this is why I now argue that everything should be free, but we need to know, and you need to know, and this is again part of the responsibility thing, right? This is responsibility, eating, moving, responsible. So, and I hated that when I was a kid, trust me. But there's different reasons for that. That's my own title. But here I am. But own it. So don't be ignorant to it. Like, say, if I want to be a pageant gal who's into this beer stuff like that, and I'm going to promote this stuff, do not say this is a healthy way of life.
Yeah, don't say that it's okay, because it's not.
Yeah, well,
you're convincing a lot of young people.
It's not okay because health. It's not okay because it deals with onset you've met everyone onset diabetes. Onset diabetes is a huge epidemic in our culture. Obesity is a huge epidemic in our culture, and right now
those two things kind of go together.
Yes, and it goes completely together. Eye disease, kidney
inflammation.
The list goes on and on.
Cancer.
So cancer. Your body's ability to recover again because of inflammation.
Yes, but I want to get into a little bit deeper here, because a lot of these people that live this lifestyle also advocate for universal health care. And this is a debate. I don't know if it's still raging in the UK.
It is. I don't know about UK.
In the UK.
But Australia they have, too.
Yeah. They are seeing our eating habits in the US are leaking over into those other countries.
No, it's the same.
And they there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, we're okay with this universal healthcare system, but I don't want to pay for your bad decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody should pay for other people's bad decisions. That's wrong.
Yeah. No, is essentially, that is. we've all seen it in the past, and I'm not going to get onto that horse right now.
And it creates a struggle. We just saw the Roe v. Wade thing. My body, my choice. Yeah. But exactly. I mean, let's take that to the grander thing, right?
Well, no. Only that only matters on the popular topics that are being pushed by media, Bran.
Yeah, right.
Okay, good talk.
But like if we employ that throughout this whole idea that we're talking about for a moment, if we're going to have universal health care, at what point do you not get to make those choices for yourself anymore?
And that's the argument. Again, this is a topic I don't want
which is the conversation that they're having in the UK several years ago for sure. I don't know if they still are. Okay. I haven't watched anybody from there.
But again, it goes to the whole thing. Like, this is why I talk about, like, yes, these things take energy, but again, like, this is an ownership thing. And we all talk about, like, everyone says how they want to own their life. We all want a choice. We want our vote. My body, I get my say. Then why don't you actually act like it the rest of the time?
Yeah.
And here it is. And
why isn't that a first principle for you?
Exactly.
And why does, as a first principle, it should apply to everything?
That's a great, like what you said, amen right there, man. Because it is very, 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 very relative, and is very much why is this a first principle. That is perfect. That's a great summary. And it's not, and people look, we're led astray by our hand very often, but there's no reason to anymore.
We allow ourselves to be.
Yeah, there's no reason to. We have information abundant around us constantly.
Yeah, this is truly the age of information.
Yes,
you have access to all the information in the world now.
Both for the most wrong part. And good.
Yes,
both wrong and right, and that's fine. That's actually right because it gives you. Now it takes down that. I think that's the funniest thing is.
Well, I just want to interject real quick. Don't get caught up in the bullshit of YouTube is so bad. There's plenty of bad books in libraries too, people.
I mean, well, heck, man, half.
Especially if you live in a small town like ours, where the libraries haven't been updated in like 10 years.
Books can be both good and bad, and there's nuance that. It depends on, again, you're in charge of your thinking way of life. Mm-hmm. Take the good, don't let the bad. Run you astray. It's just going to be. It's always going to be there. There, you are very rarely, because it's an interpretation, right? Mm-hmm. You might love something that I don't like and I'll consider it negative, also known as bad. And so if I just let that ruin it, like maybe with some movie or something like that, there's some little nuance. If I just let that ruin it for everybody else, or I keep on harping at that, right? Mm-hmm. That is. Let's not go there. Anyway, that's good. Moving on to we've done the poor social ideas about the image, the body.
But to get back to the elderly people here, I probably should have put these notes together better.
Yeah, you should have. It's all you.
But I talked about how some of these people are literally folding up on themselves, but we see an epidemic of, as people get older now, they are more prone to injuries. Yes. And it's not necessarily because we're infantilizing them and all this. It's because they're not exercising. They're not doing anything.
Well, I think it's a perfect storm, right?
And just like with children, we're not allowing them to live a more dangerous lifestyle. So there is a little bit of infantilization there.
I think it's that.
So their reaction time goes down. Their Huberman's been talking a lot about it, and I think Jocko.
That literally affects the way your brain is shaped.
Grip ability, is huge, and it's something I need to work on. Like my grip is terrible. Like my hand will literally just fail sometimes, and I'll drop stuff.
Interesting. That's diet for you, because like your forearms are the size of my face, man.
Yeah, but
well, they're inflamed.
No, I've got decent size. It just, even though I do woodworking and painting, all these dexterous things that require my hands, there's a huge grip issue. Some of it's inflammation. Some of it is just those muscles aren't there. I know they're not because I have to carry my bag and stuff.
Right.
And
is it off topic too much to say the elderly? To me, it's a perfect storm because our nutrition is shit, and then we feed them pills, which the body's not designed. The body's going to pick up maybe 5% of that pill,
which Not only that, but it creates more side effects, which cause you to need more pills.
Exactly. So you have 5% of the good from one pill, which needs you to create another. It's a tumble effect. It's a domino effect. And so then you're also not getting exercise. You're also not getting the multiple facets of exercise. And then also the brain, the way the brain shapes to all of these things.
And living a better nutritious lifestyle.
Right. That's why I was, food.
And exercise help maintain the brain in huge ways.
Yeah. Well, it actually, when you don't, so when you I remember telling my friend Chris this a few years back, when you start to work out, when you start to become more of a physical individual, whatever it is, whatever it might be, your mindset, the way you think, people always say, well, it's this exposure to new things. Well, yeah, that's part of it. But you and other neurologists have talked about, and there's papers out there that he's referenced, along with his own stuff, that it does change the brain. It literally changes the brain.
It does. Some of the earlier stuff that I've listened to with Rhonda Patrick is she's talking about how exercise affects your memory. Yeah. It helps you focus more, but it also affects your short-term memory.
That was a great one. I love that one.
Along with so many other things, right? And eating correctly. We'll get into it a little bit more with the hot cold. And
this is again
therapy.
Yeah, the hot cold. Exactly.
I'm going to call it therapy. I know that's not right.
I like it. I think it, to me, it is therapy. It helps me constantly, right?
Yeah.
Especially because I do hot cold. Like I will literally, today I did hot cold now because my sleeping was all jacked up last night, this morning. But
that's I don't know what it's from
So
necessarily.
yes. So again, our culture, again, for multiple things, has put us, and by proxy our elderly, which I hate because our culture doesn't value them enough.
No.
But
we're, again, conditioned to value them when it's convenient for talking points.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. That's almost its own show.
Through 2020.
Yeah.
Don't kill grandma.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's almost its own show, really. The depth of social norms between age groups, but again, the be comfortable and be safe thing has not served since it's been popular. Since 2000, whatever, roughly is when it really started coming into.
Really started in the 90s.
Okay, the blue ribbon stuff. Everyone gets a. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just missed that.
Okay. But it hasn't served our culture good in any way.
No, it hasn't.
Because these nuances, they already happen within that, right? Like when you've worked and you've done good whatever, you're going to rest. Like your body knows when to rest way better than you do.
Well, just like the wolves and gorging on food and going into the food coma.
Okay, I'm not gorging on food and going to food every time, Bran.
But gorging in other ways.
I'm feeling a little bit targeted.
Hard
here.
Exercise.
The pizza's good.
It can be, if you make it right. If you make it right.
Yeah,
I don't know about you. You might make terrible pizza.
Yeah, you're a funny guy, aren't you? I'll stab you with this dull thing here.
That is a driver. It's a socket driver.
Like I said, Brad.
1/4 inch.
Stab you with it. Feel good. All right, so that was a good little discombobulated conversation we had there.
And
I like that.
We touched on this in many different ways already, but the impacts it has on your mental and emotional health.
Yeah, and that's just to surmise, which we don't do a good job. That's just it. There are reasons why we're not just sitting here preaching, because me and you are both, in our own ways, living proof of what to do and what not to do. And we're not. What we're doing is
we've made plenty of bad decisions. Yeah, we're trying to correct those.
Yes, and we've been. We're not. I, for one, I can speak for myself. I am not anything of any excellent marks, but what I can do is question and say, okay, well, this isn't working. What else can I do? And that's this kind of maybe where I make my hay. And so I've managed to do that with friends and with help. I mean, gosh, getting lucky half time is half the battle. But you ask and you stumble and you find people with good information with this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you question that, of course. There's trial and error. But this is all for. I just forgot my point. But this is all for just again, like living a healthy mental and emotional lifestyle.
Just living the best life you can.
Yeah. Well, having
there's a quote from C.S. Lewis that really stuck with me. Like so much so that I actually remember it, partially because it's small. But I don't care for the quantity of a man's life. I care about the quality of a man's life.
Well, a thing that is big to me that always comes back to me is anyone. You look around us within the preaching of the safe. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to work 40 hours. I don't want to. I want everyone to pay for my health. Whatever this is, it makes you feel safe and equal. My thinking is, I don't have what triggered this. What triggered this was, I don't have children yet, but if I ever do, I'll be an older man by the time they're whenever, right? I'm in my 40s. So, what if they need me? I want to be in decent enough shape to whatever, right? And I'm not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff, but decent enough shape. And then also, what if my friends? What if? Hang on, let me finish. What if your kids needed me, or what if you needed me, or if I had a friend that needed me for any random stupid thing? I don't want to be not able.
Yeah.
Period. Not able. And you don't have to be Superman to be able. You just have to pull your own weight, and then when the need arises, you can get after it and make that choice and get the decision. But as long as you are able a little bit within your life, within your own means, and that to me is like where that's the big trigger. That is a big trigger. So healthier. Well, why? That for me, that's my why.
For me, it's about self-responsibility, right?
Yes.
Like I'm pushing 40.
Yes, you are.
And I just now, like, I'm at that point where, like, I'm tired of feeling like crap, so I have to change things. I know how I feel about getting older and being in pain and suffering, and I don't want to do that. Like, so much that I'll find a way to end it.
Yeah. No, and
as dark as that is.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I know
what you're thinking. I mean,
friends. I hijack your point. Go ahead.
But I'm tired of feeling like crap. That's why I quit smoking. Yeah. I hit a wall, and I was like, I'm tired of waking up, coughing up gray goo every day. Yeah. Not able to breathe, just feeling like crud all the time.
Sounds
and
good.
I just stopped. Yeah. Like I finally. It took a while for that mental.
And everyone, we all have like these little alarms that happen, right? For me, like there are multiple. Like depends on what it was. You want to talk about my stomach? There are tons of alarms. Yeah. You want to talk about my if I go after a heavy deadlift day, if I don't keep after being diligent with my core, that's gonna be an ugly scene because of structurally, my hips and whatever else, my leg, my knees, my back, whatever you want to talk about. So the more I exercise those things, the more I keep after them. Little small workouts every day between the nuance. I feel great. If I don't, I'm like a stiff old man trying to walk around.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. But these are things that I abused in my youth because that's just how things go.
Young and vulnerable.
Yeah, young and dumb.
Same thing.
I think you kind of FBI'd that one, right? You fed. I want them anyway. So, yeah, it's just if we all have our motivations, and honestly, like, and I do know people that are just fine with that pain. They've like maybe subconsciously, whatever it is, they've made the choices that. The pain that they know, the devil they know right there is better than the devil they don't.
This is just the way it is.
Yeah.
So
that's
nothing I can
culture
do
right there. That's a bad BS.
That is a lot of it.
Yeah, that's a bad
and
BS.
that goes into that body acceptance thing.
Well, there's a big thing also. I'm gonna hijack before we go back. Continue to the positives, I guess. But the whole I'd rather live, comfortably, than live like meagerly and not like restrain myself from like eating bacon and all this shit, right? Because for a lot of time before the nuance of healthy fat and what you can eat, versus sugars and carbs all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? People go, oh, I want my bacon, whatever. Look, the thing is you can still find your wins, if you want to say that, and be healthy.
Yeah.
Like I can eat. Well, I can gorge
Headbanger's Kitchen.
Yeah. You find all right.
I watched it.
He's a fun guy, isn't he?
Yeah. But one of the main things I took away from him, and it felt really good, another guy like Hampton, that it's okay to not be perfect. And he stopped doing keto because it
wasn't fit.
He was miserable because he couldn't eat the things that he wanted to, the things that he really enjoys.
And he's found that's culture, right? Like there's he had like people would send him stuff to maintain that diet, right? Because he can't get it in India.
Yeah. Is he in India?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he lived there or if he was in the States.
Nope. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I've been watching for 5 years.
But there are things that he wants to eat, and he's found healthy ways to eat them.
Yeah.
Some of them keto, but
yes, but the most
exercises temperance and moderation with it.
Yes. Yeah, and he's a great example, like you said, very similar to Hampton, but on very much the diet side. Like his whole family, like no one is keto, right?
Yeah.
And again, like it comes down to just like what you'll find and what we will find for clean eating in our culture. It's hard because of availability. Like it is legitimately hard. And there are hurdles to overcome.
Like the crackers for my tuna. I do most of my shopping at Walmart, even Co-op or Safeway, though probably be the same thing. None of it.
Yeah.
Passes Bobby's.
Yeah, no. The funniest thing about so much of our diet, I can just say right now, real quick, is the actual meats and veggies you can shop for, but the condiments and the luxurious things, if you really want to, like if you have inflammation or if you have whatever number of things we've discussed, you're probably going to have to make them at home. That's just the way that, because like they're not, especially
a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. Just do your research, because there are ones that
there are some, like, and if you live in a larger area,
like,
especially nowadays.
Surprisingly, the Great Value, the Walmart brand mustard,
it's pretty solid, isn't it?
It's mustard.
Yeah, it's mustard.
Like there's no natural flavors. There's no nasty preservatives. It's just like it's surprisingly Bobby approved.
I think, and that's within the last
that'll
year
be another.
and a half.
I want to talk about that in one of the side dishes.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways,
I think that's a new thing. I think it's relatively within like a year and a half. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, so. But I've been on this stuff for like 5 years or whatever it is. But yeah, man, it's so like not to take anything away from anybody. Yeah, there are ways to find your wins, and there's again like Saya, he gets down and he's good to go. And he's helped a lot of people.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude. His music is good too. Sure. Check out his music.
What band?
Oh, I don't know his
band. Because he doesn't really talk. Like he talks about the fact that he's a metal player.
Yeah, he has.
But he doesn't actually talk about his band.
He does a good job and a bad job sometimes, because he has. Sometimes he said I think all of his videos do have links to his band page.
Maybe. Because I've looked at a couple of them trying to find it and haven't been successful. Anyways, so.
But he can rip.